Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Super Rugby Podcast / the Rugby World Cup 2019 podcast special. It's been a long time, Tobes, hasn't it, between drinks?
With your host, Toby Harris
and Damien Warren.
Oh, hey, he got in there, didn't he? It's like we never left.
Yeah, this podcast is all about the Rugby World Cup over the next month and a half, 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 months.
Yeah, well, I wish. 6 weeks or so.
And we thought we'd do a little preview to the World Cup.
Yeah.
And it has been quite exciting, the games that have been played as warm-up matches.
It's been a good build-up, hasn't it? There's been some ups, there's been some downs.
There has been some downs. If you're Ireland, a rather large down.
Yes.
And in fact, we're going to go over...
They came back up.
They did come back up. So we are going to talk about today, which team, this is the first question that's been put to us, which team has had the best warm-up matches so far this year? So I thought we'd break it into the two areas. We've got Australia, South Africa, New Zealand and Argentina for a start. What do you reckon?
Well, I think Argentina hasn't had a very good one, have they? Their confidence isn't that high. And they haven't played anyone that they've beaten, before. So like New Zealand have had Tonga, South Africa have had Japan.
Yeah, I think that
Australia had Samoa.
The surprise to me was the fact that I kind of expected Argentina, out of all the teams, to get off to a great start because they'd had the Super Rugby.
Yes.
And they'd been playing together. But what's actually happened in reality is they've knackered. They've been knackered. They've played together all season.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to take the World Cup starting for them to start to hit their strides.
But the thing is that they've had that break, haven't they? They've had no warm-up games.
Well, they've had the Tri-Nations.
Yeah, but that's Tri-Nations? Quad Nations?
Quad Nations, sorry, yeah.
Rugby Championship.
Rugby Championship even, yeah.
Right, PC and all that. But the thing is they haven't had any warm-up games like we have.
No, but I don't think you really... I mean, let's be honest, Tonga, great for Pacific Islands rugby to get them back involved and give them,
Same with Samoa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to go over to Australia.
But it wasn't like a really worthwhile match.
No, it wasn't.
So I don't think they've missed out anything.
Yeah,
and if anything, they probably needed a break.
Yes, but that's why it's good for Argentina.
Yes, yeah.
They've had that break, an extended break after the Rugby Championship. So they'll be ready and rearing to go. So
let's go through. So Australia, if you're Australia, you're Michael Cheika. Yeah. Are you happy with their build-up?
He's never happy.
He's not happy, man.
He's not happy, man. Very rarely see him smile.
I mean, when they played New Zealand and they demolished New Zealand,
you'd be happy with some aspects, but then you'd be disappointed with others. With that performance in Perth.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, amazing. I think everything went well from...
Yes.
And that's what Australia can do. That's what Australia can do, can't they? They can really pull out a game like that.
They can,
And they can pull them out regularly. So they only need to do that 3 times for them to be the winners of the World Cup. Because in reality, that they are going to most likely make the quarters.
Yeah, true, yeah.
And then if they turn it on in the quarters, the semis and the final, they can upset anyone.
Yeah, they can.
I think probably the only team that's happy with their warm-up matches is probably South Africa. I think if New Zealand turned around and said they're happy,
Japan,
I think that they're having a giraffe, mate. They're having a laugh, aren't they? Because that loss and that last-minute draw to South Africa are not good signs for the ABs.
No, but then we had a spectacular win against the Australians.
Very true.
And then, my Lord, we scored some tries.
And we did. And we hadn't scored many tries for quite a while. So I'm going to say that South Africa, probably the only ones that are happy.
Southern Hemisphere, agreed.
Yeah.
Are we going to the Northern Hemisphere?
We are. So we're gonna go Scotland, England, Ireland, and Wales for a start.
Why not France? They're our. We play them the most at World Cups. Yeah, they've beaten us the most in World Cups.
Let's not talk about France and World Cups. Scotland, they've had so many injuries. So let's just put it out there and say...
not good.
I don't think that their coaching staff are that worried about their results.
Hey, Blade Thompson.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, went to school with him.
Oh, here we go, yeah.
I tell you what, me and him used to catch the same bus. So he used to live up the coast from me.
Do you know what I guess? I guess he went right to the back and you went right to the front because he didn't like you.
No. Well, we liked each other, but he was a lot older than me. But and I was very small, and he was quite a large man. But he lived up the coast from me, Whangarā, and I was Okatu. He was on the bus about half an hour before me, so he got good seats.
Excellent. So all those people that have never listened to our Arsenal podcast, I do apologise for Toby's off the ball.
Hey, I know a lot of people.
So anyway, Scotland, I don't think they're that worried.
No, not good.
England.
They've had pretty good warm-up.
I think England would be very happy.
Yes.
And I think Eddie Jones has stumbled over his best team.
Yeah.
I don't think, hand on heart, if you asked Eddie Jones, his starting 15 a year ago would resemble anything like his starting 15 now.
They've got a couple of injuries.
Yeah, a
couple of injuries, but nothing that...
Yeah, nothing
like
that's too worrying.
Exactly.
Nothing's too worrying. So I would say England are looking very, very good. In fact, there's a few things that I saw from England that I worry about. Because if it goes the way we think it might go, then we're going to play England in the semis.
We could play them in the semi or the final.
Ireland. Go back to that. England, the demolishing of Ireland was pretty...
Thrashing.
Was pretty amazing. And actually did show how many good ball carriers they have got. But
it also showed what England could do if they actually played the right style.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If they play the right style and they've got the right team, they are going to be very difficult to beat. Very, very difficult. Yeah. Ireland, how would you feel? They've not been... over the last sort of 6 months.
Yeah, but then they did beat Wales.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm Ireland, I have to acknowledge that if you are missing some key players, you are going to struggle against the very, very top teams.
Yes.
And they were missing a number of players going into that England match. So therefore, can you scrub it out and say it doesn't really matter, we weren't full strength, and because we're not full strength, we don't have the player pool that some of the bigger countries have.
I mean, in some ways you can, but then on the other side of the coin you can go, we're in trouble. Got thrashed. We are not looking too good.
Well, I mean, New Zealand got thrashed by Australia.
Yeah, we did.
And we didn't panic, and we came back, a week later or 2 weeks later and did the job. So, but I'm looking at that and I'm saying, Joe Schmidt, what a coach he is, but maybe he's done in New Zealand. He peaked too early. Maybe, and maybe his game plan has become a little bit too easy to read,
but too predictable.
And
maybe
I don't think they're a good team. They're a bit like when we spoke about the Super Rugby and we talk about Otago. They're a good team, but they don't really have, the
out and out,
the real kind of game busters.
No, Johnny Sexton, World Player of the Year. Come on. Whoever picked that.
What about Wales? If you're Wales, how are you feeling?
I also feel like they are getting a bit predictable. They are a very defensive team and they're superb at it.
You could say that about Ireland, though. Ireland are a very, very defensive team as well.
Yeah, well, against England?
Driven.
Against England?
Yeah, okay, not so
pretty
defensive.
Good, yeah, real good. But Wales, if they lose, it's not by much. It's not by a lot.
We're going to go into their injuries, but I would say without a couple of key injuries, they would have been a lot stronger.
I agree.
Their game plan now has shrunk because of those injuries. We're going to go over those later. I'm going to say you kind of neither here nor there with Wales. They've shown they can beat the best teams in the world when it really matters.
Yeah.
But they've also shown that if they're slightly off the pace, they can get beaten.
Yeah.
And then we're going to Italy.
Italy.
What do we think of Italy's build-up? They've got absolutely no chance, do they?
They beat Georgia, didn't they?
They did beat Georgia, but they're not going to make the quarters.
No, because they've got South Africa and New Zealand in their pool.
Oh, that's very true. But,
and Namibia.
And they've also got, they've actually, you can see them, but they've been building for years and they've never really truly broken through. Like in Argentina have been building for years.
But Argentina
have kind of broken through now. Okay, they haven't, dominated New Zealand, Australia, or South Africa.
Almost beat us, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
They are in and around, but
they are top 8. They could be top 8 or they could be top 4, depending on what happens. So, France have come out and they are. It's a little bit worrying, isn't it? That sometimes the French flair.
The annoying thing is that World Cups.
I know. They just bring it out for World Cup. They're absolutely rubbish.
I know.
For like 3
Six
years.
Nations, yeah, real good. Yeah, not bothered. World Cups, bang. Yeah, let's go and win it. Oh.
Oui, bonjour. That's all I know.
Oui.
Okay, so that's the major countries. But what are the other countries have you seen that you've kind of been a little bit impressed by or surprised by?
I was impressed with Japan's performance in that Pacific Nations Cup.
Okay, so
And they almost blew everyone out of the water there.
I mean,
I would have thought Samoa would have been okay.
yeah, okay, I got you. I understand.
Fiji might have been okay.
Yeah,
but
okay. So with all these teams, I take Japan out of that and set America out of that. But you go Tonga, Samoa, and Fiji, right? Before a World Cup, they just can't be bothered sometimes. No. Right? Okay. But when you put them in a big game, they rise themselves to the challenge.
They rise to the challenge for half an hour, 40 minutes.
Nah.
Then they lose the plot.
I think normally, in a normal game, you're right.
2003 World Cup, Samoa, England. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, okay. You got a great point. They're in there, but I think that's just the nature of beating a big team is a lot harder than you think. But,
definitely.
You think Tonga, 2011, beating France, the finalists. So I think Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, and even Japan have a chance of a big upset. Japan obviously have got Scotland in their group.
I think Japan will go through.
Nah, no chance.
I think Japan will go through.
I think you could be right. I think.
Okay, so it's gone from no chance to I think you could be right.
No, I think if Scotland's injuries come back and their players aren't fit, I could see Japan beating them.
Yeah.
But I think if they're fully fit, they've got a fully fit squad, then I can't see Japan winning. But what I would say is this.
Yeah, but would you have said that 2015 South Africa, Japan?
No, you're right. You're right.
But anything could happen.
Yeah, but
it's one game.
Okay, but I don't think South Africa went into that match thinking they could lose to Japan. But I do think that Scotland and Ireland are going to go into their matches and think, if we don't play well, we could lose to Japan. And I think that's different. If you go into a match thinking, if we're not on our game, we're going to lose, then you make sure you're on your game. I think South Africa went in there thinking they're going to roll them, and that's dangerous.
They definitely did, yeah. But
that's really dangerous.
They got stung, didn't they?
I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about one of these teams. We're going to move on now. And the next question is, after seeing the matches, who's going to play in the quarterfinals of the World Cup? Who are you thinking is going to go through? So in Group A, Ireland, Scotland, Japan, Russia, and Samoa.
Ireland, Japan. Ireland first, Japan second.
Wow. I'm going to go Ireland, Scotland. I'm going to say Ireland first, Scotland second. Okay. And I'm going to say Japan is an outside bet, depending on Scotland's squad. Pool B, New Zealand, South Africa, Italy, Namibia, Canada. The mighty Canada.
Oh, Canada. The maple leaves. I think South Africa and New Zealand will go through.
But who's going to win that pool?
I'll tell you
on Sunday,
Saturday night.
I think New Zealand will go through first, and I think South Africa will go through second. And I don't actually think South Africa will be that upset by it, because
But do you think New Zealand would be that upset if we got beaten by South Africa?
Yes.
Do you think so?
Yeah, we'd be absolutely gutted. We've never lost a pool match. We've never
Are you
lost.
joking?
No, we've never lost a pool match, mate. So
that's a good stat.
I know, I'm full of them.
Oh, Damo the statistician.
Okay, so we both agree on that. Pool C: Ireland, France, Argentina.
Hang on. Just going back to Pool B. If we win our pool, and all goes to plan for England,
yes,
we will meet them in the semi-final.
That's if they win their group.
Yes.
Which is not a given.
No, not a given, but
it could happen.
It could happen.
Yeah.
And then, but if we lose, if we get second, and then everything goes to plan, and everything goes to plan for England, we could meet them in the final. Or we could meet South Africa in the final.
I'd rather meet England in the semis than the final. I think we'll play well in the semis if we make the semis.
Yeah.
There's no givens here.
No.
I think finals rugby is always tight.
Yes.
And actually England in a tight match against New Zealand.
Right, Pool C.
Pool C. So England, France, Argentina, the US of A, the mighty US of A.
The Eagles.
The Tongans.
Right. I think it'll be England first, Argentina second.
You know when you think...
It's bad.
It takes ages.
Do you see all the smoke coming out of my ears?
England first.
Yep.
Argentina second.
Yes.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I could see Argentina beating France. Yeah,
could
definitely.
you see France beating England?
I could see France beating. I just don't think it will happen.
No.
But I could see it. I mean,
it could come down to
England might miss out again.
difference.
England might miss out again. That would be a real shame for everyone.
That would be the dream.
Interesting, I was watching a rugby program and there was a whole bunch of Irish contestants.
Right.
Pundits. And they were saying, who would they rather win the World Cup? Wales or England?
Right.
They said England. They'd rather see England win the World Cup than Wales.
And England don't like Wales either.
So I was really surprised by that. I thought the Irish dislike the English more than the Welsh, but obviously not. So there you go. So we both agree on that.
Yeah.
The last one is Australia, Wales, Georgia, Fiji, or Uruguay.
Australia to win.
Is
Wales
Uruguay
second.
basically just another team from all around the world?
Uruguay?
Yeah.
No.
As in what I'm trying to say is it's just a bunch of New Zealanders, Australians that live overseas.
Can I just say, I've got an email on my cellular phone.
Offering for you to play for them.
No. But they have 0 other nations in their team. So every single player is from Uruguay.
That's fantastic. They must be one of the only ones.
I've actually got I'll read them out after we've gone through pool. But
so who you got to win it?
Australia
and second,
Wales.
Yeah. Okay, here's a big one. Fiji. Any chance of making the quarters?
No.
Oh, that's interesting.
Do you?
Well, this is the next question we're going to go over, and the question is: which team is most likely to give the biggest upset?
So just before that question, Damo, I've got something for you. Okay, now this is quite rare.
Are you bringing to the podcast some actual information?
I'm bringing some food to the table, mate. Bringing some kite. So, email I got from an unknown source. I do know this person. But. Spotlight. New Zealand are the ones accused for sucking up the best players from the Pacific Islands and making them into winning All Blacks. Not true, Damien. It's not true.
Not true, say Sivu Reese.
Far more New Zealand.
Rocco Thoko.
Yeah. Far more New Zealanders.
Charles Beartow. Jonah Lomu. They all say, Michael Jones, they all say no truth in it.
Look, okay. I'm finally bringing something to the table and you're literally going, nah, just wiping it off. Nah, I don't want to hear that, Toby.
Go on. You go, mate.
Thank you. Okay, so far more New Zealanders play for other countries. Far more New Zealanders play for other countries than other nationalities playing for New Zealand. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Give me a break. So, here we go. Number of foreign-born players per country. Right. 19, Samoa. 16, Tonga. 15, USA. 14, Japan and Scotland. 12, Australia. 8, Italy and Wales. 7, England. Just like the cricket team.
Yeah.
5, France. 4, Canada. Fiji, Ireland and New Zealand. 1, Georgia, Russia and South Africa. And then none from Argentina, Namibia, and Uruguay.
Wow. So good on the Uruguayans, Namibians to have a full...
Yes. Don't forget the Argentinians.
Yeah, very good from the Argentinians.
Yeah, which is, it is good. The main donors, 48.
Kiwis.
48 Kiwis. 18 English, 13 Australian and South Africans, 8 Tongans, 7 Fijians, and 6 Irish men. Now,
6 Irish men. It could be Irish women.
No, we're talking about the Irish men's team, mate. Also, like England's Joe Cokanasigo. Like he's not from Hull, is he?
Tuolangi, yeah.
He's from.
I mean,
he's from Devon.
When he asked for a cup of tea.
May I please have a cup of tea?
Anyway, going back, my biggest chance of an upset is Fiji.
Yeah, see, I don't get no.
You're going
Japan, yeah,
and I'm saying it's not an upset because everyone's expecting them to upset.
Yeah, but they're not expecting; they're hoping, aren't they?
They're hoping. Yeah, you're right. But Fiji, and the reason I'm going off this is because Fiji beat the New Zealand Maoris, and if you don't know about the New Zealand Maoris, they are a team that's beaten a lot of international sides and full strength Tier 1 sides.
I just did some research.
You did amazing.
Very good research.
Yeah.
So they've beaten England twice, so 50% record there. I think they're 100% against Ireland. You know, they've drawn with South Africa. They've beaten Australia 6 times, I think it is.
Wow.
So they've beaten the Irish, the Lions, not the Irish Lions, just the Lions. So they've beaten some quality teams.
They have. And Fiji beat them, and the way that they played were outstanding. And if Fiji played, let's say, the Wales or an Australian, like they did, I could definitely see them beating them. And they only have to then beat the other 2 guys in their pool, which are almost givens for them at the quality that they play and train at, because they have upped their game significantly. Actually, more than Samoa, more than Tonga. Fiji are taking their rugby more seriously. Maybe it's their 7s that things dripping into their 15s.
I think their 7s is pushing it more, aren't they? It's like the reverse with New Zealand. You know, almost the All Blacks are dripping a few players. Well, that's actually not true. That's not true.
No, it's not true. But the coaching side is definitely very New Zealand dominated as well. So
yeah.
So injury worries is up next, and we're going to look at each country and all their injury worries.
Yeah.
So first up is Island Tobes, and they've got a couple of quite worrying injuries. Firstly, their 2 fly-halves, Joe Carvery and Johnny Sexton.
Yeah, not well.
And then add to that,
got a midfielder
Gareth
too,
Henshaw, Robbie Henshaw.
Yeah.
So, you know, you take all that into consideration, and you know they're really struggling.
Yeah.
And then to add to that, Sean O'Brien missing the World Cup. That's a huge loss.
Yeah, but they've just had another loss, haven't they? Is it Welsh or was it the Irish coach?
No. The Welsh coach.
Is it the Welsh coach?
Yeah, the Welsh coach. So that's another real problem they've got. So Ireland, some pretty big. I mean, they do think that Johnny Sexton's going to be fine.
Right.
So let's just say he is fine.
Yeah.
But if he's not, that's a massive issue for them. Henshaw, if he's not fit, that's a big
hole. But they
smaller
issue.
They can fill it, but then their bench is affected. Scotland have got loads of injuries, but they're all expected to come back.
Right.
And as long as they do, I'm really hoping for a great World Cup for Scotland. New Zealand, mates. I didn't even know this till today that...
Because I told you.
Luke Jacobson.
Oh, did you not know Luke Jacobson?
I didn't know he was out, and I didn't know Shannon Frizzell was in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a shame for Luke.
Yeah.
But I do think Shannon Frizzell will do a great job there. But Brodie Retallick, still hanging over him. Is he going to be fit? Is he not going to be fit? If he's going to be fit for the quarterfinals, is that too late? He hasn't played any rugby.
Sonny Bill Williams. Now, I'm not sure if these are just rumours, but there is a cloud over his head, I think, injury-wise. I'm not sure what with, but...
But we can cover that, can't we? Can we cover that or not? We can't cover his experience.
No, you're right. Two-time World Cup winner.
I mean, yeah, and Crotty's the experienced one, but he's under an injury cloud as well. Yeah. Mate, the best injury that I've come across is Dialante, who had a hamstring injury.
Hamstring.
Yeah, maybe from injecting the drugs into that part of his body.
Is that just because he's got a big hole from the big needle that he's been putting into his leg?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know, he's also been done for taking a whole load of steroids. So
that's unbelievable.
England.
Yeah, Jack Knowles.
Jack Noel, Marco Vanapola, but they think that they'll be back for the
back end
of the pool stations. Pool stations.
The pool stations. Yeah, calling in an all pool station.
But Wales, their coach is gone for betting regulations. Not.
I don't get how he's done that.
I mean, he's only been sort of, they've only sort of said that he's done it. But he has been sent home. That kind of might lead into it that it's done it.
It's pretty obvious, hey. And then we got Gareth Anscombe.
That's a huge loss.
Yeah.
And Faletau.
Yeah.
Huge loss as well. And I think I mentioned this to you before. I did not rate him as a player highly until the British and Irish Lions. That was impressive.
He stepped up, didn't he?
Massively stepped up. So out of all of those players, who do you think is the biggest loss?
Well, you sort of said Ireland, but I think Wales.
Do you think their coach leaving at this time, do you think the coach is the biggest loss? Or do you think Anscombe's the biggest loss? Because obviously the way that they play, Anscombe's completely different to Biggar. And Biggar comes on, changes the game. Or Biggar starts, Anscombe comes on, changes the game. But without that, they become a little bit one-dimensional. Wales. I would say Ireland though, mate. Sean O'Brien, huge loss. If Johnny Sexton's not fit, Joey Carvery's not fit,
but they all sort of say, they might not be fit, and then bang,
they're ready.
They're fit.
It was all for the press. It was all for the betting scandals.
Yeah.
He knew that they were fit, and he was putting on some extra betting. Yeah, but up next, mate,
all the coaches, they're all fun and games, aren't they? They just chipping at each other.
Steady Eddie's the mind game.
Can't shut his mouth.
Nah. Okay, biggest question of them all is, who is going to win the Rugby World Cup?
This is such a hard one.
If we had to put our own money, let's say a $5 each.
Mate, it's more than I get paid weekly.
If we had to put a $5 on each, who do we honestly think is going to win the Rugby World Cup?
It's a tough one. It could be a handful of.
Yeah, but you've got to pick one, mate.
I mean, I want to pick New Zealand, and I'm going to pick New Zealand.
You're going to pick New Zealand?
Yeah.
If I had to put my money on it now, I'd say England. And it hurts me to say it, but you look at their pool and you see they've got some tough games there, which is going to get them ready. Quarterfinals, they've got actually then, I think for them, becomes a little bit easier. Yeah.
For the quarterfinal?
Well,
who could they potentially get in the quarterfinal?
Wales or Australia. And I think the hand on heart, they know right now that they can beat both those teams. Okay? And I don't think hand on heart New Zealand could say they're going to beat an Ireland. Maybe they might feel like they can beat a Scotland. But if they lose their first game, which we're not going to, please don't do that.
I think South Africa might win it.
Oh. So you've just gone from New Zealand,
yes.
I'm going to say New Zealand, to then South Africa.
Yeah, because you sort of changed tact and went, England. What's that?
I mean, England, great kicker. I think they got the best overall kind of squad of players. And I just think that New Zealand could. Their kicker, their midfield, question marks over those at the moment. They're two massive things. I think Australia could, but I don't think they're going to win the quarters, semis and final. I think Wales could, but again, they're all in the same boat.
Yeah, but if we're going off experience, in a World Cup, Australia, loads.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
And the thing is that with these big teams, it doesn't matter about the last 3 and a half years.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
And if we take France for, if we're taking France, yeah?
Please don't take France for granted.
Not good for the last 3.5-4 years. And then normally, bang.
Yeah.
But he beat someone.
I'm still going to stand by it. I think England are, I'm not saying they're hot favourites. I don't think there is a hot favourite, but I think they are favourites at the moment. I don't think that they realise that, but I just got a feeling. It's a bad feeling.
I'd like to know what the TAB or what, of the betting platforms, who is the favourite to win?
I think New Zealand are still the favourites to win.
I wonder by how much.
Not by a lot now. Not by a lot. And I think it's just because it's going to be such a tough World Cup.
Yeah. And
I don't think the final is going to be a really sort of throw the ball around final. It's going to be like the European Cup final, which was just brutal. that's what the final's going to be. I think
Which
the semi-finals.
is awful, though, you know,
I think
and
the
that
semi-finals
doesn't
will be
suit
good.
New Zealand.
I think if it's New Zealand Australia, it'll be a throw the ball round
Yeah.
final. But if it's a New Zealand England, yeah, we're definitely gonna hold our breath when we're playing some of these games. That is the end of our podcast. But can you see behind, if you're watching on YouTube, we've got a few bits and pieces. But if you'd like to add to
I've
that,
even been holding a pill. Also, do you like the little touch with the chopsticks?
hate the touch with the chopsticks. That's your little. We're in Japan.
Yeah. What did you bring to the table?
I'll show you what I brought to the table. It didn't work. I brought some theme music that didn't work. God, it is working.
Is it?
No, it's not. Is it? I don't know.
No. Village. You are village.
Anyway, it's been a real pleasure. If they'd like to get hold of us, our Twitter account is Super Rugby Podcast. The Super Rugby Pod, sorry. Our email address is superrugbypodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
And that's really about it.
Here we go. Tournament winners. Just before we finish. New Zealand are favourites on £2.37, and then it goes to England and South Africa on £5.
Oh, so we are hot favourites still.
So we're hot favourites. I don't like that.
No, I don't like that either. But until next week, we're going to do this on a Wednesday
questions.
now. Oh, Tuesday.
We want questions. Loads of questions about the Rugby World Cup. Your thoughts on top players from those weekend games.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We want inform teams as well. We want anything. I want to hear it.
Anything you
I
get your hands on.
All I've heard is his bloody voice for the past 2 months. I want to hear someone else.
So on a Wednesday, we will be putting these out for you guys to hopefully enjoy. But until then, it's been our pleasure.
Yeah, it's been
See
good.
you or hear from you or you listen to us next week.